But the spiritual was not first, rather the natural, and then the spiritual. The first man was from earth, earthly, the second man from heaven. As was the earthly one, so also are the earthly. And as is the heavenly one, so also are the heavenly. Just as we have borne the image of the earthly one, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly one. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "To you who hear I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. To the person who strikes you on one cheek, offer the other one as well. And from the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. If you lend money to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather, love your enemies and do good to them, and lend expecting nothing back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be the children of the Most High, for he himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you. A good measure, packed together, shaken down, and overflowing, will be poured into your lap. For the measure with which you measure will in return be measured out to you." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Good morning. You will remember that our gospel was the Sermon on the Plain. Remember when Jesus preached about the 4 blessings and the 4 woes? Blessed are the poor, the hungry, the weeping, the outcasts. But woe to the rich, those with possessions, those who laugh, and those with good reputations. Well, if you were confused and uncomfortable last week, then get ready, because it gets even better this week. Jesus said to his disciples, "Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you, lend money, and expect nothing in return." Again, each week, Jesus is turning our world upside down, or at least our worldly view of the way we think we live. He defies common wisdom then and now. It doesn't really make sense, does it? But this is the world in which Jesus wants everyone here to live. So this morning, again, when we read this gospel, I want you to place it in your life. I want you to think about the relationships that you have in your life, specifically to our spouses, to our children, to our family, and to our friends. Right? Remember those last week? True happiness in our relationships requires us to be devoted. Remember, devoted. Loyal, faithful, committed, loving, affectionate, caring, forgiving. But to be honest, and we all know this, the hardest people to love and the hardest people to forgive are the people sitting right next to you right now. They're the ones in your home. They're the ones that we live with. It is hard to be forgiving sometimes to the people that we're in the closest relationships with, and we know it. Our spouses, our family, our friends. Because when they hurt us, it goes much deeper because you trusted them. You love them. I love this song. This is Forgiveness. I always give you all a song. Forgiveness from Matthew West. It says, "It's the hardest thing to give away. It's the last thing on your mind today. It always goes to those who don't deserve. It's the opposite of how you feel when the pain they caused is just too real. It takes everything you have just to say the word, forgiveness." My friends, this may be a difficult message to hear today because I think it's fair to say we've all suffered great pain in our life, and forgiveness may be the farthest thing on your mind right now for someone who's hurt you. But it is the most unselfish act of love, and it is freedom. It is freedom to heal and be set free from the past, from the hurts. That is what He wants for you to heal. So I want you to consider three elements of forgiveness. Remember, 1, it comes from God. It's a grace from God. 2, it is healing and freeing. And 3, it can lead to reconciliation. So let's think about this. Number 1, we heard it in the readings. Forgiveness comes from God, right? It is hard for us to do it. Sometimes our human spirit can't do it. We just can't love the unlovable. We can't do the impossible, right? It's hard to forgive, but you can ask for the grace to forgive. You can fill that space in your heart that's full of anger with love, with healing once again. You have to ask God. Ask Him in prayer, ask Him with humility, ask Him with vulnerability, ask Him for His blessings, ask Him for His love. It's said that it's not our forgiveness that healing happens, it's only God's. When Jesus tells us to love our enemies, He gives us love itself. Jesus does. So, if you find it too difficult to forgive someone, Remember what he did when he was there on the cross. He asked his Father to forgive those who did not know what they were doing. Remember? We must always turn to the Father, because in the end, only God can really forgive. It may not be in our heart, but it's in his. And that is what we are looking for, my friends. The second element, forgiveness is essential to heal and be free. Because remember, you will never feel the pain, maybe, but the memory will last forever. Forgiving does not mean forgetting. Always remember that. Doesn't mean you forget. Because when we forgive a person, the memory of the wound may last a long time. It may last your whole life. But when we hold on to the hurt, what does it do to us? When you hold on to that hurt, all it does is cause resentment. You get resentment, anger, and bitterness in your soul. It's self-torture, my friends. I mean, the other person may not even know he did something. He may not care. He may not care you forgive him. But we hold it. We hold it, don't we? And we can't let go. All this bitterness shackles your emotional life and your spiritual life. It does. It weighs you down. It's like a prison cell. It constrains our mind and our soul. As long as we do not forgive those who wounded us, we're carrying a heavy load, and you know it. So, to be fully effective, to get rid of that load, we have to go into our heart where it hurts. You have to liberate that feeling from your own heart. Everyone's different. I can't tell you how to do it, but you have to go deep inside yourself and say, I want to be set free from this. I want to let go. I want to see myself free of negativity. Last point, number 3. Forgiveness can lead to reconciliation. Can. When those who hurt us are our family members or our friends, it damages the very foundation of our relationship, right? Trust. It damages trust. Many times when we have hurt others, trust may be gone. Trust may be gone forever. You may forgive even, but it doesn't mean you trust, because trust takes a long time to rebuild. Forgiveness is only part of the healing. Regaining that trust and regaining your relationship is the final part. Those people must earn our trust, and it takes time. As I said, you may have noticed, I said, like a lawyer would have said, forgiveness can lead to reconciliation. I didn't say it will. It can. Sometimes the other person may be unwilling or unable to accept your forgiveness. And if you're in a relationship where the same thing keeps happening over and over and over again, and you're a victim, get out. Forgiveness does not mean that you are accepting abuse from anyone. It doesn't mean you have to be a victim, my friends. There's Bob Schutz. I quoted Bob Schutz last week. He's a Catholic marriage therapist. So for those of you who want forgiveness right now and want to rebuild that trust, he gives us 7 A words. I'm going to give you the 7 A words. If you want these, you can email me, and I'll give you a longer version of them. Ready? 7. Address the person you offended. Avoid all excuses. No ifs, ands, or buts. Admit your wrong attitude and your wrong behavior. Acknowledge the hurt that you caused. Accept the consequences of your behavior. Alter your attitude and your behaviors. Then ask for forgiveness. If you don't do all 7, you're not really going to get the full benefit, and you're not going to rebuild that trust, my friends. Get trust. and forgiveness is a gift of mercy. So as you think about this week, there's an old story. It's actually a true story. So at the end of World War II, the Russian people had been decimated. Millions and millions of people were killed and starved because of the Germans. So the German soldiers were marched through the Red Square one day, and the people were angry. Can you imagine? The people they're starving, the Russian people are starving, and they're angry. Because first people came through were the German officers, and they were not remorseful, they were haughty, they had their pristine-looking uniforms on. They were the people, though, who ordered all of the killing. The crowd wanted to tear them apart. They cursed at them. They threw rocks at them. They were ready to rip them from piece to piece. Okay. Then came the regular soldiers, who were mostly young men and old men, because at the end of the war, the Germans drafted anybody who could walk. They didn't care how young you were. They didn't care how old you were. These people were crippled. They were lame. They were hungry. They were bloody. They couldn't even walk. That moment, the crowd silenced, and they could see tears from these young boys in these old men's eyes. At that moment, one woman broke through the line and gave a piece of bread to one of those soldiers. That was it. Everybody came in. Everybody brought maybe their own piece of bread they had that day and gave it to those soldiers. In that moment of hatred and unforgiveness became instantaneously a moment of mercy and moment of forgiveness, my friends. My friends, forgiveness is not easy, but Jesus challenges us today to a way of life that is not easy. It's not easy to follow. To be like God and be loving, we have to be merciful. We have to be forgiving. So today, reflect on someone that you need to forgive. Reflect on someone who's hurt you. Reflect on something you need to be healed of. Are you willing to open your hearts to Him to allow that healing to occur? Remember, forgiving does not erase what happened. Forgiving is not forgetting. It's not a deleted memory. But with God's grace, we all can begin to let go of those things that weigh us down. Only then can we heal, my friends. In the end, to forgive is to set a prisoner free. And when you do, you just might discover that the prisoner is you.